What's up, guys? Good morning. All right. So, if you haven't just heard, yesterday Powell put out this quote. Let's take a look at it, actually. Here is the statement by the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. He put out this quote yesterday. All right, let me know if you can hear it. You should be able to hear it.
On Friday, the Department of Justice served the Federal Reserve with grand jury subpoenas, threatening a criminal indictment related to my testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. That testimony concerned, in part, a multi-year project to renovate historic Federal Reserve office buildings. I have deep respect for the rule of law and for accountability in our democracy. No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law. But this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure. This new threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight role. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president. This is about whether the Fed will be able to continue to set interest rates based on evidence and economic conditions, or whether instead monetary policy will be directed by political pressure or intimidation. I have served at the Federal Reserve under 4 administrations, Republicans and Democrats alike. In every case, I have carried out my duties without political fear or favor, focused solely on our mandate of price stability and maximum employment. Public service sometimes requires standing firm in the face of threats. I will continue to do the job the Senate confirmed me to do, with integrity and a commitment to serving the American people.
All right, so that was Jerome Powell commenting on a criminal probe tied to his June Senate Banking Committee testimony about the cost and scope of the Fed's headquarters renovation project. Prosecutors are suggesting he may have misled Congress about it, and so the investigation is going to focus on whether Powell's June testimony accurately described the size, cost overruns, and scope of the multi-year renovation of the Fed building in Washington. Reporting says the Department of Justice is examining his statements to see if he downplayed or mischaracterized the project and thus could be charged as false or misleading statements to Congress, though no specific charges have been filed. And that's the big news that markets are interpreting today. Let me know where you side on it. But yeah, that's what's going on in markets today. That's what's kind of shaking markets. Gold and silver, though, guys. Look at silver. Silver is at all-time highs right now. Silver tapped 84.69 this morning. It's at 83.86. The previous all-time high in silver futures was at around 82.60s. We're at 83.80s now for silver. We are basically at all-time highs. And yeah, markets have run a little bit on all this. Silver and gold have run. So again, Bitcoin's around 90,000. Silver and gold pushing up. Let me put the music back on this. Yeah, silver. Look at silver up here. Gold. Again, gold's up to 45.91. It's at all-time highs as well, getting very close to that 5,000 level. When markets opened up yesterday, gold surged all the way to 46.12 in gold futures. So gold is up. If we're talking about just indexes, SPY is down, NASDAQ is down, Dow is probably down too. Yeah, the Dow is also down as well. So if we're talking about markets, most of them are down here. if we take a look at yields this morning, and again, we did not get the tariff update, but yields are elevated. They're at 4.195% today, 4.195, which is up a little bit. You can kind of see they're up on the day overall for 10-year treasuries. And yeah, we'll see if things hold. We'll do a poll here. Yeah, we have CPI inflation data tomorrow. If we take a look at rate odds, I mean, it's almost certain we are not going to cut rates this month. Yeah, it's 95 to 5% likelihood. All right, let me get a scroller. I'm getting a scroller as well. Oh my gosh. Here, I'm gonna mute this. It's supposed to just be instrumentals, bro. I don't know where it comes from, but there we go. It's supposed to be instrumentals. I don't know why. All right. We got this scroller is now up, but yeah, we're 95 to 5% likelihood of a pause this month, unless inflation data comes in incredibly low. I still don't think we're cutting rates, even if we do get that. But again, Powell says the probe is tied to his June Senate Banking Committee testimony about the cost and scope of the Fed's headquarters renovation project. Prosecutors are suggesting he may have misled Congress about it. Let me catch back up with the chat. Yeah, maybe we'll get some revisions. I don't know if he's going to raise rates. Is there supposed to be a press conference about it? Let's see. But yeah, that's the big market shaking news this morning and yesterday, really. Again, I'm seeing some other news. Bristol Myers announces positive top-line results. Moderna 2025 revenue outlook of about $1.9 billion and improving 25 GAAP operating expenses by $200 million to $5.2 billion. Lululemon expects Q4 net revenue and diluted EPS at the upper end of the 3.5 to 3.585 billion. Where's Lulu at recently? Lulu was up, but it's now actually red on the day. I'm actually green in my stocks this morning somehow, mostly on silver. Remember, I am in silver, and silver is up. Here is silver's chart right here. You can kind of see the crazy moves it's made since Thursday, Friday. Silver has gone all the way back up to record highs. Gold has as well. Gold now at $4,600 an ounce. Bitcoin is recently pushing up just now, almost back up to 91,000. Again, the NASDAQ is red on the day. The NASDAQ itself closed around 25.9s. It's at 25.7s right now. So, you know, previous closing price is way up here today for the NASDAQ, the NQ. It's at 25.720s as we speak, 25.720s. What's up, Jay? What's up, Ty? Halo, R, VA, Hybrid, Sam, Lee, CD, Pawn, Womble, Fallout, Dirty, Kitchen Table, everybody else. What's up, guys? Demetrius, Chef, Sean, Ava, Mantis. What's up, guys? All right, so yeah. The big news is that video from Powell. Again, on Friday, we were watching the market very closely because on Friday, it was potentially the day that we would get the tariff update, whether the Supreme Court reverses the tariffs. And we didn't end up getting it. The next day might be this Friday coming up. Maybe. So we'll see. Are we in earnings season yet? Let me see. But we do have an upward trend on the NASDAQ. We had this big drop on the NQ early this morning at like 2 a.m. We ended up getting bought right back up here today. So we ended up getting bought right back up. So earnings kind of start tomorrow morning, just to put this in perspective. Tomorrow morning, we get JP Morgan, Delta Airlines, Bank of New York earnings and more. So we get some earnings tomorrow. And then Wednesday, we get more banks, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, Bank of America, Infosys, United Community Banks, and more. And then Thursday, we get Taiwan Semiconductors, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, First Horizon, and Bank 7, so kind of investment banks. Friday, PNC Financial, State Street. So we got a bunch of bank earnings this week. Next week, I believe we get more earnings. The next week here, we get like Netflix, IB, United Airlines, Progress, Hancock Whitney, Johnson & Johnson, Ally, and more. So we get some earnings next week as well. But earnings season is about to start. Yeah, I don't think we're cutting rates now for sure. And I think really, if you look at it objectively, I think Powell is probably getting pressured here. He wants more rate cuts. And maybe that's what this is about. So we have the EU Commissioner Kubilius speaking right now. He said it would be the end of NATO if the U.S. took Greenland by force. European Union members are obliged to come to Denmark's assistance under the EU treaty if faced with military aggression. A Swiss court also decides that to maintain detention of owners of Crans, Montana bar that caught fire on New Year's. But again, tomorrow, guys, we have all this stuff going on with Powell. Tomorrow we have CPI inflation data. So CPI inflation data tomorrow. We have Tom Barkin also speaking at 8 a.m. this morning. But tomorrow we get CPI inflation data. It's expected at 2.7% year over year for both core and headline CPI tomorrow. So it's expected, again, 2.7% year over year for both core and headline CPI. Month over month expected at 0.3% inflation tomorrow, 0.3%. Core CPI also expected at 0.3%. And then on Wednesday, we get a delayed retail sales report. We get CPI inflation data, although we're not really showing, or we get PPI inflation data Wednesday and more. So a lot of Fed members speaking this week. The Fed meeting is going to be in 2 weeks from now. So we still got a little bit of time until then. No cuts for you going forward? Yeah, maybe. Distractions. Do you think Powell should be charged? Yeah, so the investigation focused on whether Powell's June testimony accurately described the size, cost overruns roughly into the multi-billion range and scope of the multi-year renovation of Fed buildings in Washington. Department of Justice is examining these statements to see if he downplayed or mischaracterized the project and could be charged for false or misleading statements to Congress, though no specific charges have been filed here. Let's see if I can dig deeper into what these comments were. NASDAQ's still pushing higher here, though. It's at 739s right now. Okay, so apparently the focus is on Powell's June Senate banking testimony where he denied lavish features in the Fed headquarter renovation. He basically said there was no new marble beyond replacement, no special elevators, no new water features, no beehives. Beehives? What is it? What are they talking about? Beehives? No roof garden terraces. And defended the project as a necessary safety and structural overhaul despite the multi-billion-dollar cost. Yeah, I'm looking deeper into the Beehive comment. Yeah, in June, he explicitly told senators there were, quote, no new water features, so no waterfalls, no beehives, no roof terrace gardens. You might as well add, like, no gold flake pizza, all right? Yeah, I mean, look, he's basically trying to explain. I mean, I don't know where the beehives comment comes from, but hey. Yeah, it's just pressure to cut rates is what this is. This is pressure to cut rates. Yeah, no red light therapy, you know. No gold toilet seats. No caviar. Yeah, but again, silver, gold flying up. Gold at 45.94s right now. 45.94s. Silver at $84 an ounce here. What are we looking at right now? Let me do a poll here. Are you guys bullish or bearish? All right, let's do a poll. Are you bullish or bearish on today's market? Let me know. You can vote on the poll. Silver up big. Yeah, silver's up a lot. All right, guys. So again, the Nasdaq up. I'm looking at 750s right here on the Nasdaq. 750s is very close. Again, I talk about the 200 exponential a lot, and this is why. 200 EMA, 200 EMA. Now we're all the way up to the 750 level right here. I'm definitely watching that as well. Bitcoin again under 91,000, but over 90,000, so that's good. Yeah, so this is the quote. This is the quote that they're using. All the inflammatory things the media carried out are not in the current plan. There's no VIP dining room, no marble, no special elevators, no new water features, no beehives. I sold everything on Friday, so I'm biased. Everything is down. Yeah, everything's down except for gold and silver and precious metals. They're up a lot. If you take a look at the dollar index here, dollar index is down today as well at 98.70s. Was at 99s though. It has been pushing up. So again, here's the dollar index. Dollar index is down. Gold and silver is higher. Bitcoin is higher. Nasdaq is right around 750. Although there's a big gap to fill on the downside today. Markets are down. Nasdaq, S&P, Dow are all opening red this morning. So Yeah, I'm wondering if like how legit is this criminal probe? You know, the question is, did he lie? And what's the likelihood that he gets charged? You know, because right now it's just words. You know, I'm looking at deep. It says publicly available docs say those specific inflammatory features he denied, like the VIP dining room, special elevators, new water features, beehives, roof tariff gardens, were removed from the current plan. And the Fed's own facts reiterate that there are no new water features of VIP spaces, with the garden terrace language referring instead to a standard green roof over the parking structure. Yeah, I mean, look. Yeah, it's a distraction. I'm just gonna say this: if the Federal Reserve doesn't have beehives, I'm not using them. You know, that I'm taking a stand. But looking at Polymarket and looking at public odds makers, let's see if we can find. You know, a 25 basis point cut is only a 6% chance right now, so it's gone down from the 10 or 15% chance it was earlier. Yeah, so now we do have some odds that started. Will Jerome Powell be federally charged by June 30th? There's only a 12% chance of this happening right now. So if the U.S. formally charges Jerome Powell and announces a criminal indictment by June 30th, it will be a yes. If not, it'll be a no. But currently that is about a 12% chance, 12 to 13% chance. Let's look at other markets here. Watch the banks. Yeah. I mean, looking at the other odds makers here. Let's see if I can find more odds. There's about 15% chance that Powell... I think the odds of Powell getting pressure to step down are higher now, though, with this, even if it's just words. Right now, I do think they should increase a little bit, and they have so far. So when I look at these odds, him getting out before January or before May is about 15% likelihood. That is higher than it was yesterday, or before this news came out. And so I do think, I don't think it's still a majority. Like, I don't think it's the most probable thing. But I think the odds of that obviously might increase now. Right, they're trying to get him to pressure him to step down, maybe pressure him to cut rates. I think it might do the opposite, though. Bitcoin's pulling back here. Again, the NASDAQ went right up to 750 and then pulled back. Again, we can look at gold and silver. Gold and silver are the ones really running today. They're at 45.95 right now. So gold and silver really are running. Yeah, I don't think he's going to step down either. But I just think it's pressure tactics is what it is. You know, like that's what this is. This is pressure tactics. Looking at our poll, we're still pretty split down the middle. We got hundreds of votes already. 51% are bullish, 49% are bearish. I think Powell has more balls than people think. Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. And honestly, I think Powell tries to stay neutral. Especially in his public comments, he tries to stay neutral. People ask Powell all the time, hey, you know, what do you think about the president doing this, and this? And Powell almost always, or every time I've seen him, he always says, hey, look, like that's too political. I'm not going to answer that. And so Powell does a decent job of staying neutral. It really is just disagreements in regards to what he does. And again, I just think it's pressure. We'll see what happens. I don't know if any of this is going to happen. Lululemon. Yeah, maybe Lululemon you could argue for a dip buy. The problem is that it's a fashion company for me, right? So even if it looks cheap and it's down a lot, the problem with Lululemon for me, again, anybody that has listened to the stream for a long time, understands my views on Lululemon, and my views on Lululemon, and I said this when they were $400 or $500 a share, then when they were way up here. This is where I really didn't like them. Down here, they're more interesting for sure, but the problem is that it's fashion, and fashion changes. Lululemon, you got to look back at the story. There's a story behind Lululemon, and the story is that they got really big after 2020 when people were stuck at home and leisure wear fashion took off. Sweatpants and yoga pants and all that stuff, and that's great. You know, they got really big in that period of time. They were already around prior to that, but they got really big in that leisure wear environment of 2020. The issue is that they were really freaking high in share price. And trends change. Generations change in terms of who buys the trendy clothes. Generations change. And the thing with Lululemon is that they got really big during that period of time. But there's variance. There's volatility that can happen from it. There's risks, I guess is what I'm trying to say, in Lululemon. And again, the risk is that it becomes less popular over time. And this is what I said when Lulu was at $500 a share. It's now at $200 a share. Maybe it's cheap enough to justify a dip buy. I think Lululemon still probably makes some good money. I think their growth is slowing though. And so maybe a swing trade could be argued for Lululemon. I don't necessarily like an investment per se. And I think it'll still probably do well, but I don't think it's zero risk. And so I think the risks are a little bit too high for me to hold this one long term. Maybe short term, you could argue a swing trade. I'm not necessarily opposed to that. I'm not an investment professional, though. I'm not liable if you lose. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Do not copy me. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of competition, a lot of copycats. You know, you go to Lululemon, it's like $100 for a flimsy hat. You know, other brands are going to say, hey, we can do this for cheaper. And again, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. I think Lululemon, I think it's a placebo. You know, I think the marketing was really good. I think, you know, they get people to pay attention to how the clothes feel. And they're saying, look how comfortable these clothes are. And then people try them on. They're like, oh, they are comfortable. I think a lot of it's placebo effect. I think you can get the same thing for half the price, you know, a quarter of the price at Academy or Walmart, really. And there's almost no difference in how they feel. They just make you, they tell you it's more comfortable, so you believe it's more comfortable is what I really think it is. And so, yeah. And I think at this point, the rest of the world has copied them, so. All right, guys. So Hassett is speaking. He expects the president hasn't been briefed on the Department of Justice Fed case. Hassett says the jobless rate changing because of the Federal Reserve workforce cuts. He says Polt on Bloomberg, TV's on mute right now. He said Polt's a properly spineless, quote, effer. The linchpin behind Powell's subpoena then goes on Bloomy and gives no comments, answers to every question. If you're going to do dumb things, at least own them, end quote. Hassett. What a quote from Hassett, man. Oh, you got to love the bickering. Big cost overruns look inconsistent with testimony. The president's focus on housing and affordability. I don't think the rate stance had anything to do with events. The economy is not booming because of the Fed in a CNBC interview. He says plans look inconsistent with testimony. Fed building renovation has dramatic cost overruns, says Hassett. Big cost overruns look inconsistent with the testimony. And I've not been involved with the Department of Justice on the federal case regarding the Fed building. He said he respects the independence of the Fed. I'm trying to figure out if this is a real quote. Oh, no, this is quoting Michael Brown, actually. I'm sorry. That wasn't Hassett that said that. Okay. I thought he was quoting it. This is okay, that makes more sense. I was about to say, Hassett says, I do not know whether the Trump approved of the Fed probe. I'm very happy to get out of Lululemon at profit. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Good luck. Again, the Dow's kind of creeping higher, but most markets are down right now. Yeah, I was reading Michael Brown's post on X. Is who I was reading. Again, so Hassett basically said he doesn't think the president has been actually briefed on the Department of Justice case. So we'll see what that turns out like. He thinks the jobless rate is changing because the Federal Reserve federal workforce cuts. So we did have the FHFA's Pult saying institutional buying is very powerful in housing. And again, Hassett regarding the Jerome Powell probe says that he respects the independence of the Fed, but the Fed building renovation has dramatic cost overruns and plans look inconsistent with the testimony. And he's on CNBC right now saying this. So he said he's still interested in the Fed job, and he doesn't know whether the president approved of the Fed probe into Jerome Powell. People are calling for silver to be $150 to $200 by the end of the year. Some are saying if you don't trust the government inflation numbers that it could be much higher. Yeah, I mean, and silver's up to 84. It's up to all-time highs. It's been running for the last few weeks, really. Silver's been up for, what, 2.5 weeks now? 3 weeks? Gold is kind of following it, but silver's been up a lot. And so... yeah, look at the NASDAQ pushing higher here. Let's watch this 750 level. I'm definitely watching that. I want to put the SPY up here, maybe. SPY's at 694s. The S&P 500 still close to 7,000, but down on the day overall. Still watching Hassett. He's speaking on CNBC right now. Hassett did say Powell was a good person. So, he did say Powell was a good person, which is good. Okay, the NASDAQ just popped over 750. So look at the NASDAQ bounce over 750s right now. Look at the NASDAQ pop. Here's Nvidia. Apple. Most things are red this morning, but the NASDAQ was at 25.9, so it's at 25.7s now. So, everything's red, basically. What does it all mean? Well, it just means there's beef between the Fed and the current administration. White House senior advisor Hassett says he hasn't talked to Jerome Powell about him staying on board. Again, so he said he hasn't talked to Powell about him staying on board. But again, he did say he thinks Powell's a good person. All right, NASDAQ over 750s now. NASDAQ still pushing higher here. Again, silver and gold are elevated on the day. Bitcoin's still over 90, which is a good sign, I guess. Yeah, we don't really have any economic data at 8:30 today. So, like, generally we have stuff to cover. We don't really have much right now. Tomorrow is honestly going to be a packed full day, though. Tomorrow we have, just to put this into perspective, today we don't have that much. Tomorrow we have ADP prelim weekly employment numbers at 8:15. At 8:30 we have CPI inflation data. At 10 a.m. we have new home sales and more. And then Wednesday we have PPI inflation data, delayed PPI inflation data, and then we have retail sales data at 8:30 as well. Thursday we have jobless claims and more. Auto sales, housing starts for Canada. Let's see what else we got. Philly Fed Index. New York Empire State Manufacturing Index at 8:30 on Thursday as well. And then Friday, we might potentially get, not only do we have like capacity utilization and industrial production numbers on Friday, but we have a potential announcement of the Supreme Court decision regarding the tariffs. We might have gotten it this past Friday, but we didn't, unfortunately. And maybe this Friday we'll get it. But the NASDAQ's ripping up here. Maybe I'll buy a pullback too. I'll look for a pullback dip here if I can find one. Again, hasn't talked about Powell, about him staying on board. He said he was a good person, says he's still interested in the Fed job. But he hasn't talked to Powell about him staying on board as Fed governor. I'm pretty sure is what they're talking about. Bitcoin's going down until October. Fed shouldn't be political. All right, so Nick Timiraos just reported that Powell has apparently hired powerhouse DC firm Williams & Connolly as outside counsel before the Department of Justice subpoena arrived, a sign he could be ready for whatever turns the current administration takes. Nick Timiraos said Powell hasn't sought a fight over the Fed's institutional autonomy, but Sunday's extraordinary 2-minute video statement suggests he won't shy away from either one. Yeah, and again, we did the odds. We looked at the odds earlier today. Powell being out as chair only has about 15% chance of happening, according to Kalshi Markets. We also looked at, will Powell be formally charged before April? And the odds of that are pretty low as well. Or by June 30th. There's only a 12% chance of that right now. How many times did Powell cut for Biden? 3? The same amount he cut for the president this year, or last year. 3 times. And you also got to think, look, okay, there's a lag in rate cuts. It's not like it's an instantaneous, I mean, it affects bonds, but there's a lag in terms of what it really benefits. And so the question you got to ask yourself is that if the president took office in January of last year, and Powell cut in September, November, and December of the previous year, right before January, who do those rate cuts benefit? Does it benefit the current president, or does it benefit the previous one who stepped down 2 months later? That's the real question you have to ask yourself. I hear that a lot, but the reality of it is the rate cuts at the end of 2024 benefited the current president, you know, because again, he took office, what, January 18th or something, you know? Yeah, the 20th, whatever it was. And again, I'm not against you. I'm not for you either. I'm kind of neutral. The president just said, I'm the one who saved NATO. And so again, the president did say, I'm the one who saved NATO. Again, hasn't talked to Powell about him staying on board. Yeah, the Jerome Powell news, again, is specifically news regarding the probe. So again, yesterday, again, I'll put this video up again, but yesterday, Jerome Powell said this. Hold on. So this is what happened yesterday. So yesterday, again, Jerome Powell said this.
On Friday, the Department of Justice served the Federal Reserve with grand jury subpoenas, threatening a criminal indictment related to my testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. That testimony concerned in part a multi-year project to renovate historic Federal Reserve office buildings. I have deep respect for the rule of law and for accountability in our democracy. No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law. But this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure. This new threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight role. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president. This is about whether the Fed will be able to continue to set interest rates based on evidence and economic conditions, or whether instead monetary policy will be directed by political pressure or intimidation. I have served at the Federal Reserve under 4 administrations, Republicans and Democrats alike. In every case, I have carried out my duties without political fear or favor, focused solely on our mandate of price stability and maximum employment. Public service sometimes requires standing firm in the face of threats. I will continue to do the job the Senate confirmed me to do, with integrity and a commitment to serving the American people. Thank you.
All right, so that is Powell's quotes. And again, just to put this into perspective, Powell said in his testimony, he essentially denied, quote, lavish features in the Fed headquarter renovation. He said there were no new marbles beyond replacements, no special elevators, no new water features, no beehives, send it back, okay? No roof garden terraces, and defended the project as necessary safety and structural overhaul despite multi-billion-dollar cost overruns. I mean, if there's no beehives, you got to just cancel this whole thing, all right? No beehives, send it back, all right? Tell them no. That's your line in the sand here. No beehives? What are you guys doing over there? How can you have a Federal Reserve building without beehives? They're essential for this building, you know? But yeah, in June, he did explicitly tell senators that there are no new water features, no beehives, no roof terrace gardens. He rejected reports of lavish upgrades in the headquarter renovation plan. So that is what this is all about. Look at 750 holding support here. So 750 is holding support. But look at 750 holding support on the NASDAQ. We'll see if it holds. Yeah, I mean, I just think the beehive quote. Look, I'm neutral on all this stuff. The beehive quote's hilarious. It's the most non-relevant thing you could say. Beehives, it kind of makes it funny. It's the non-relevant part of it. Beehives have nothing to do with anything. You know? But still. I love the Joe Dirt quote. So you're going to tell me you have no black cats, no Roman candles, no screaming memes, whisker doos, with or without the scooter stick? Come on now. Yeah, oil today. Let's take a look at oil. Oil at 59. Oil's technically green on the day. It is a little bit more elevated than it was. It's been at 57s. The oil's at 59s today. But look at 750 holding the NASDAQ. Look at silver, though, guys. Silver is pushing higher. Close to all-time highs. Silver might break all-time highs right now. Let me see if... Yeah, this is silver all-time highs right now. It's at 84.59. Its all-time high is at 84.69. So now we're at 63s. Silver looks like it might break all-time highs again right now. So this is silver right here. Just broke all-time highs. 84.78 for silver all-time highs. 84.78 is the new all-time highs in silver futures. So silver did just break highs. Gold's getting up there. It's at $4,600 a share right now. 46.12 is all-time highs in gold. But yeah, silver new all-time highs, 84.78. And silver's continuing to push higher here. 84.79.50 is the new all-time highs now. Look at this move. Again, gold all-time highs is very, very close. Hey, thank you for the donation. Again, silver's still breaking all-time highs at 84.82s, 84.84s, 84.86 the new all-time high for silver. Look at this pop up. According to the Fed's own renovation facts page in Powell's follow-up letter, the new decorative water features that were in the earlier design submissions were removed from the current plan, and there are no beehives in the project. Critics argue some water features and roof-type garden-style elements still appear in the older planning documents, and that the discrepancy is part of what investigators are probing. So again, there's no beehives. Crisis averted, no beehives. Again, gold, silver up at all-time highs again at 84.86.50s, 84.88s, 84.9s is the new all-time high for silver right now. Silver futures. Again, look at silver right here. It's breaking all-time highs. All right, so NATO generator Rut is saying NATO allies are discussing the next step to keep the Arctic safe. Michael Saylor also buys 13,627 Bitcoin worth $1.2 billion. Cuba's president said they are not in talks with the United States. The president said, quote, "I'm the one who saved NATO," end quote. And again, apparently Powell has hired powerhouse DC firm Williams & Connolly as outside counsel. Yeah, silver flying up. Abercrombie and Fitch fiscal EPS view is 1030 to 1040. Who buys Abercrombie and Fitch though? I've said this before, but like, who actually buys this company? Every time I go to the mall, nobody's in there. And it's not the Abercrombie and Fitch I grew up with. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But I grew up with, like, you know, I grew up in the early 2000s. Abercrombie and Fitch was around then. You know, it smelled like cologne and techno in there. Now it's just different. I don't even know what they do in there. I don't know who buys this stuff anymore. Maybe I'm just out of touch with style now. When I went in there, it was like fishnet shirts for men. And I'm not judging. But you know. Anyways, silver at 85s right now. 85s is the all-time high on silver right now. 85 and 3.5 cents. Bitcoin's falling down. It's at 90.5s. Gold at 46.09 right now. 46.09. Silver still pushing higher here. Gold pushing higher as we speak right now. I'm not judging. I'm just not going to buy it. I'm not going to buy fishnet shirt. Bro, y'all got mad at me one time for wearing an Adidas tank top. All right. I show up in a fishnet shirt. Chaos ensues. All right. All right, guys. Silver up to 85s. Testing all-time highs again right now. Silver still pushing higher. 46.12s. All right, look at the NASDAQ dip down fast here. Let's see if there's a reason for this. Look at the NASDAQ turn. Wow. Silver's still up there. Breaking highs pretty much every few candles now for silver. Rudd says NATO commitment to Ukraine membership still stands. He says the Arctic has to be a priority. NATO's Rudd says we are discussing the next step to make sure we have a practical follow-up on those talks on the Arctic to make sure as an alliance we do everything on this collectively. Whoa. Markets are still turning down here. Look at the NASDAQ turn red right now. Whoa. Nvidia's down, but it's not. I don't know if this is big enough. Apple's dropping a lot. But look at this big drop in markets right now, guys. I'm trying to figure out what this is. But man, what a big drop in NASDAQ here. Yeah, let me look at see if the president said anything on social media. He hasn't said anything new. Not really. Right, so we did bounce right here around the 200 exponential. Silver just broke highs again. 85.27 highs for silver right now. 85.27 is the new high for silver futures. Yeah, we'll see if we get some bigger reactions to this. But as of now, again, the NASDAQ just had a big 3 or 4 candle pullback. Silver's still breaking all-time highs, though, and around it. Gold is up there as well. Gold is breaking all-time highs at 46.14. Basically, 46.15 is the new all-time high for gold. The gold and silver breaking all-time highs this morning, guys. Gold and silver. Yeah, maybe Friday we'll get a tariff news where they're going to tell us if the tariffs hold. Maybe. But yeah, gold all-time high, new all-time high for spot gold, 4,600. All-time high for gold futures, 46.1550. Crazy movements here in gold and silver, though. Wednesday. Bitcoin is digital gold. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's up to 90.5. Look at gold break highs again. 46.1720s, 46.1750s for gold. Gold is still breaking all-time highs this morning. News said the U.S. Army is now ready to attack. Yeah, we had Secretary General of NATO. He said that NATO's commitment to Ukraine still holds firm. We're still pulling back, though, in the NASDAQ. Look at the red show up. Yeah, the tariff news on Wednesday. Sorry. Gold just broke all-time highs again. 46.20s. Silver all-time highs as well at 85.40s right now for silver. Yeah, so again, Wednesday, January 14th is the next potential tariff decision day, but it's only listed as an opinion again. So remember, last Friday was an opinion, and basically we don't know if the tariff decision is going to be in that batch, but it could happen as early as Wednesday, this Wednesday. Yeah, look at these moves here, man. Silver, gold, flying high here. Bitcoin now is still dipping down here. It's at 90.4s. Yeah, it's a big week for market news. Tomorrow we have CPI inflation. Wednesday we have PPI inflation and retail sales data. Thursday we get jobless claims. And then as well on Wednesday we might get the potential tariff outcome after 10 a.m. So yeah, let's see if we continue to hold here. I don't know what to do with my trading on this. I might take some trades, but maybe it might be easier to trade gold or silver right now. I'll try to buy this here and see if we hold. Maybe add a little bit to it. There we go. Got a little pop here. Let's take half off. Maybe add to it again. I'm gonna add to this now, see if it holds. There we go. I'm gonna take half off. We're gonna cut this here as well. Little scalp, not bad. Brought some profit on the day. We bought it down here at 730, so it went to 745. So I mean, I think that's easy profit. Silver and gold still breaking highs. Gold is right at the all-time highs now at 46.20s for gold futures. Yeah, it's an interesting day here today, guys. It's an interesting day. Yeah, gold just broke all-time highs. 46.21 is the new all-time highs for gold futures. Silver new all-time highs, 85.44 for silver futures right now. Yeah, so again, markets sold off after the Jerome Powell said he is under federal criminal investigation, which revived fears of political interference in monetary policy. Powell called the probe linked to the Fed's headquarters renovation a pretext driven by pressure from the president, warning it threatens independence of the central bank. Markets reacted. S&P opened red. Dollar weakened. Treasury yields went up. Gold hit record highs. Silver at record highs. Analysts described the move as a, quote, risk-off move, with some saying the Sell America trade is back as investors are wanting a higher risk premium on assets. You know, again, we're only about 2 weeks away from the FOMC decision here as well. Look at markets popping here. $750s. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna cut rates this month. I think that's one of the things that's gonna, you know, get really reinforced with all this stuff going on. We did a poll, bull or bear. What's another good poll for today? NASDAQ right back up, though. It just got bought up after this dip. Again, the president is going to interview Ryder for Fed chair, according to Fox Business. So again, apparently he's going to interview Ryder as a potential Fed chairman option. And again, we see this in terms of, will Jerome Powell be federally charged by June 30th? It only has about a 12% chance on markets. All right, guys. Silver just broke all-time highs again, 85.54s for silver. 85.54s an ounce for silver. Gold, again, 46.21.30 an ounce. We don't have any economic data. No, not really, no. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. Big, busy week in economic reports for sure. %, chance the gov shut down. Didn't I see that ACA credits were extended for 3 years? So I don't think we're shutting down. I think that basically cancels out the shutdown. No? I'm pretty sure I read that. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. That's a separate bill. The House is the one that passed it. Yeah, y'all are right. It's not law yet. The shutdown risk hinges on whether Congress passes the remaining bills or another continuing resolution before January 30th. The 30th is the deadline. John, in regards to the Fed probe, bar is low for inquiry, bar is high for indictment. Yeah, I mean, they're going to inquire into it. They're going to probe into it, right? I don't think they formally charge anybody, though. And even if you look at the odds of that, 12% chance he's charged by June 30th. So it's not super probable. I think you're right. I think it's less likely. NASDAQ starting to climb higher here. Congress is the House and the Senate. But again, the president apparently is going to interview Ryder for Fed chair this week, according to Business. Again, we don't have any economic data today. Not any, really. Again, silver still breaking highs. Gold still breaking highs. NASDAQ testing highs of the day. Just broke highs of the day on the NQ here. The NASDAQ just popped up and tapped highs of the day. Draw a level here. We've tested this level a bunch. All right, gold, silver, pull it back a little bit after breaking highs. Bitcoin bouncing higher here as well. Hey, Carol. All right, guys. Yeah, so we do have Barkin. I thought Barkin speaks at 8 a.m. Let me see. I thought Barkin spoke at 8 a.m. today. So I know we had somebody speaking at 8 a.m. I thought it was Barkin. That was 22 minutes ago. Yeah, Barkin's supposed to speak at 8 o'clock this morning. Bostic is supposed to speak at 12:30, and Williams speaks at 6 o'clock is what it is. So let me see where Barkin's supposed to speak. Yeah, I'm checking to see where Barkin's supposed to speak here. I don't really see why. I see he's supposed to speak. I don't see what it is. Yeah, so Rick Ryder of BlackRock this week is getting interviewed for Fed chairman. Although Kalshi markets only currently give him about a 4% chance of being nominated. So it's kind of a long shot. President's supposed to announce who he picks for Fed chairman this month. We'll see what happens. Yeah, again, Powell basically said in June, there's no VIP dining room, no special elevators, no new water features, no beehives, roof tariff gardens. They were removed from the current plan. He said all the inflammatory things the media carried are not in the current plan. No VIP dining rooms, no new marble, no special elevators, no new water features, no beehives, and no roof terrace gardens. No beehives, I send it back. You know. But yeah, that's basically the quotes from Powell from June. The quotes that the probe is looking into. Yeah. No zip lines. You know. No golden steak. Alright. Don't even think about it. Like no champagne serving robots. Alright. So gold pull it back a little bit, silver pull it back a little bit. NASDAQ tested all-time highs and it dipped down some as well. Yeah, NASDAQ, not all-time highs, I'm sorry. Highs of the day. It's not all-time highs. Highs of the day are like 25,762 or so. All-time highs are at 26.4s, if I remember correctly, or something like that. So we're a long ways away from all-time highs on the NASDAQ. NASDAQ broke highs of the day, though. You shocked me quite a bit with what, the Beehive comment? The Beehive comment honestly shocked me too. I don't know, like, even if you're describing luxury, it just seems out of place. I think what Powell is referring to, though, to be honest, he's responding to the media, or to the media's claims. Apparently, maybe the media had claimed there were going to be beehives at the Fed building. I don't know. I really don't know this. Oh, NASDAQ is not at all-time highs. NASDAQ is at highs of the day. Or at least it was. It's not anymore. Yeah. Yeah, I think the Beehive comment's just out of place, and so it's hilarious, but yeah. Maybe the Beehives is like a security feature, you know, like a moat, but with bees instead, you know. All right, so again, the president's supposed to interview Rick Ryder, which is he's of BlackRock, as a potential successor to Jerome Powell, although the odds of him being it are low. All right, guys. It's almost 8:30. We don't have any economic data at 8:30 today. So we'll see what the market brings us today, but no economic reports this morning. Tomorrow we have CPI inflation. Wednesday we have PPI inflation, retail sales data, and the potential decision by the Supreme Court on the tariffs. Thursday we got jobless claims and more, so we got stuff going on. After silver and gold have broken all-time highs consistently this morning, we're now kind of quiet here, waiting for the opening bell in an hour. We'll see what we get there. Again, we did a bull-bear poll. 51% are bullish, 49% are bearish. I don't think so. I don't think Powell will even be officially charged in this. Not really. I think it's just pressure tactics, really. I don't think he's going to be officially charged. Even the odds of that before June are like 12%. So they're not very high. I mean, they could always change. They're always subject to change. But all right, guys. So again, Hassett said that the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell was a, quote, good person. MicroStrategy now holds 687,410 Bitcoin worth $62 billion. They're also going to be interviewing Rick Ryder from BlackRock as the potential successor to Jerome Powell. The German finance minister has commented on the president's Federal Reserve attack. He says central bank independence is a clear line for him as a finance minister. He says price floors are for rare earths is an option they will discuss at G7. And again, the NASDAQ has quieted down a little bit. Silver and gold still close to all-time highs. But look at the move silver has made this morning. They've made some big moves this morning. 46.16s for silver, or for gold, I mean. 85s for silver. So they're making some big moves. Bitcoin's still sitting over 90K. Not quite like as volatile as gold and silver. All right, so here's a dip in the NASDAQ. Look at this dip coming in the NASDAQ. So a dip here in the NQ. Both of them opened up on after the Powell probe update. Everything opened up pretty red this morning except for precious metals. NASDAQ's red, S&P's red, Dow is red today. So a lot of stuff is red. Again, you can look at Nvidia. Most of the Mag 7 is red. Yeah, I see some people arguing about whether the renovations were legit. Hey, bud. Hey, man. Love you, bud. Good day, dude. Love you, buddy. All right. So again, NASDAQ dipped a little bit. We have silver pushing higher. So essentially, Powell's being investigated for comments he made in June, where he essentially denied lavish features in the Fed's headquarter renovation. He said, again, there were no new marbles beyond replacements, no special elevators, no new water features, no beehives, and no roof garden terraces. He also defended the project as necessary safety and structural overhaul despite the multi-billion-dollar cost overruns. And so the testimony is essentially getting investigated on whether Powell accurately described the size of the overruns, roughly in the multi-billion range, and the scope of the multi-year renovation of the Fed's buildings in Washington. So apparently the Department of Justice is now examining if his statements downplayed or mischaracterized the project, and so in turn could be charged as false or misleading statements to Congress, though no specific charges have been filed yet, and I don't think there will be. Yeah, I mean, to me, honestly, look, and I'm neutral politically, I really am. Like, I don't get into either side. It seems a little thin if we're talking about charges. It seems a little thin. You know, and maybe I'm wrong. Look, you can let me know. I'm not against you. I'm just neutral in all this stuff. But I don't think he's going to be charged. It seems a little too thin. All right, guys, so the NASDAQ at 750s here, still kind of going back and forth. New highs on the NASDAQ around 25,760. Gold up there at 46.18s. If you look at the SPY, SPY's at 690s. QQQ is currently at 622s. Again, gold is at all-time highs and it's moving up to retest it now with silver. 85s for silver, 46.21s for gold here. Almost to 46.22s. Bitcoin also bouncing back some here. All right, guys. Hey, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. We got CPI, inflation data, and more this week coming, so just be ready. Yeah, gold moving back up a little bit, but again, we're kind of in this middle range right now that we've been in for the last 15 minutes or so. Market has moved sideways in a big range, but sideways. All right, so we're dipping down. We're under 750s now. Again, gold's very close to all-time highs. Again, 46.21 for gold. Does gold break 5,000 this year? Let me do a poll on that. I think that's a good question. Does gold break 5,000 this year? Let me know. Vote on the poll. The poll is now live with that question. 87% so far say yes. 92% now, 90%. It's close enough. I mean, it's less than $400 away, gold futures, so it's close. Yeah, the news over the tape is kind of light right now after everything going on, but it's an interesting morning for sure. Markets are volatile. I'm assuming the VIX is going to be higher today. Yeah, look at the VIX. Still not quite, still not high, but it's higher today for sure. It's at almost 16 right now. Went higher than 16s, almost to 17s this morning. On downside volatility, the VIX is going to go up. It's you, Lee. I'm still clean here. No freezing. Yeah, I mean, I think it probably will. I think the poll is right. It's 80%, 80-20 right now. I think that gold's going to break 5,000 this year. I think it probably will. 100 to 120 for silver this year. Yeah, I mean, I think that's possible too, for sure. Especially if you look at silver's moves. Silver up to all-time highs. I'm curious to see what these do at the opening bell. Here's gold. Do you guys think tomorrow's CPI inflation comes in higher or lower? It's expected at 2.7% year over year. Core expected at 2.7% as well. Higher or lower inflation than 2.7% tomorrow? Let me know. 0.3% on the month for both core and headline CPI inflation. Do we come in higher or lower for inflation data? Guys, higher and lower. CRISPR Therapeutics highlights strategic priorities and anticipated 26 milestones starting this year with a strong balance sheet with approximately $2 billion in cash equivalents, and marketable securities. Higher. I love you. Have a good day. I'm feeling better about the 1,000 to 1 bet. Were you the one that bet that the government would still be closed? I mean, you lost that one, didn't you? Which one? Did you have a new 1,000 to 1 bet? Higher. Lower, lower, lower. Yeah, I mean, 2.7 seems low to me. But you never know. We also have new home sales coming out tomorrow and more. Some Fed members speaking today also. So 17 years ago today, Satoshi Nakamoto sent the first ever Bitcoin transaction. He transferred 10 Bitcoin to Hal Finney. 17 years ago today, man. Time's flying. Yeah, gold still breaking highs here. 46.23s as we speak for gold. Silver still hasn't broken highs, but gold just popped over it. 46.22s. And gold is not slowing down here, guys. Wow. 46.21s. The Cuban president says there are no conversations with the United States government except for technical contracts in the migration field. All right, so gold's pulling back a little bit now. 46.18s after breaking all-time highs again for gold. Hey, what's up, Sergio? 2.7 seems unrealistic. Yeah, again, Bitcoin pulling back a little bit, gold pulling back some, silver pulling back some here as well. Lost the government closing bed by 5 days. Honestly, you had a higher chance of making money than I thought you did. So, good job. I mean, you didn't win, but you came close. Yeah, and looking at odds again, will Jerome Powell get federally charged by June 30th? Currently has about a 12% chance. So it's not very high. I don't think it's super probable. I think it's kind of thin myself, but we'll see what happens. Again, markets are getting a little thinner ahead of the open in 45 minutes. And again, the big news, again, is that Jerome Powell is getting probed into regarding his June comments on Federal Reserve building renovations. Powell put out a video yesterday as well as a follow-up letter. He said the new decorative water features that were in the earlier design submissions were removed from the current plan and there are no beehives in the project. He said no VIP dining room, no new marble, no special elevators, no new water features, no beehives, and no roof terrace gardens. I might trade a little bit. Let's see what we get. Silver and gold getting higher here. If we get a pullback, I'll buy it, but I need a dip. Might not get the chance to. We got a little dip here. Need a little bit larger of one. And it's interesting because markets are already down a lot. There we go. That's a dip. I'm going to buy a little bit here, maybe add to it if it keeps dropping. We've got a cushion on the day here already, so we can scale into some size. Yeah, I saw some people mention that the beehive comment has to do with the gardens. They need bees for the gardens, maybe. Pollinators, you know. And that makes more sense. But it seems it's a funny quote for sure. There we go. I'm basically flat right now. I'd like it to go up. We'll see if it continues, obviously, in the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is coming back down a little bit. If it backs up higher. All right, now we're flat. I took a little bit off here just to limit my risk. It's kind of choppy. I'll probably leave it here though. NASDAQ is down. I mean, NASDAQ previous close that I'm showing here is at 25.9s. We're at 25.7s right now, so 25.9s previous close. Honestly, the range is pretty light and limited as I speak here, so we're a ways away. We're down significantly on the NASDAQ this morning, mostly on just Fed independence worries. The probe into Powell is scaring people. So we opened up red. Precious metals are pushing higher. Gold, silver broke all-time highs multiple times this morning. All right, we're going to take another piece off up here. I'm worried 750 might reject it. And so there we go. We're mostly out of it. We got one left. We'll see what this one does. All right, there goes gold and silver pushing back higher here. Yeah, I got to cut it right there. Yeah, 9 a.m. in 12 minutes. Hey, what's up, Disciplined? Yeah, get silver over 85 an ounce here. Gold is as well. The volatility on silver is crazy. All right, guys. Look at gold, just broke all-time highs again. 46.25s. All-time highs for gold. Gold is still pushing higher here. Any news today? Yeah, I mean, we got Jerome Powell getting probed by the Department of Justice regarding quotes he made in June about the Federal Reserve renovations. Meta announcing that it has appointed former president advisor Powell McCormick as president. But yeah, essentially what we got going on today is that Powell made quotes in June regarding the Federal Reserve renovations. And now he's getting probed to see if they misled and people. He put out this earlier.
On Friday, the Department of Justice served the Federal Reserve with grand jury subpoenas, threatening a criminal indictment related to my testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. That testimony concerned in part a multi-year project to renovate historic Federal Reserve office buildings. I have deep respect for the rule of law and for accountability in our democracy. No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law. But this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure. This new threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight role. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president. This is
you guys agree with Powell?
Will be able to continue to set interest rates based on evidence and economic conditions, or whether instead monetary policy will be directed by political pressure or intimidation. I have served at the Federal Reserve under 4 administrations.
Okay, so that's basically Powell's quotes. Outside of that, the news has been kind of light, but markets are interpreting this probe as a negative thing. As markets opened up pretty red, gold and silver continually break all-time highs. Gold at 46.27s now. All-time highs for gold, 46.27s. All right, guys, and we have 8 minutes left until 9 o'clock, top of the hour here. Venezuela government announced they're releasing 116 prisoners, political prisoners. Silver popped over 85 an ounce. It's at 85.30s. Gold at 46.20s an ounce. The Nasdaq still bumping higher here. Again, we asked people, does gold break 5,000 this year? 82% say yes, it does. I think we might break it this quarter. Up to $46.28 an ounce, $46.28 for gold futures. Again, treasury yields are up, like from the Powell probe as well. Treasury yields climbed higher. Current administration investigating Powell over renovation overruns. A lot of people worried about the Fed's independence. 10 years at almost 4.2%, 2 years at 3.54%. Last week they were at like the 10-year was at like 4.17% or so. So it's up some for sure. On this, Nasdaq, S&P, and Dow are all down this morning. Gold, silver breaking all-time highs again over and over again this morning. Yeah, I'm not going to do a poll regarding Powell. It's okay. Yeah, it's all right. NASDAQ up to 25.7s here, 25.7s. So maybe we're seeing some rebounding effect here. But again, if you take a look at odds for this month, odds of this month are much higher for a pause now than they were last week. It's 95 to 5% likely that we cut, or that we pause interest rates now. 95 to 5% likely that we cut, or that we pause interest rates. No cuts this month, almost certainly, unless inflation data shows up shockingly low, which I don't think it is. We're gonna pause rates, and on the what is it, the 29th, the 31st? When is it? It's something like that. Odds were below 4% during the weekend. Well, it depends on which odds you're looking at. The watch tool is different from the actual odds. Like if we go to economics right now, at this point it's only a 6% chance we do a 25 basis point cut. I still don't think we're going to. David, that's up to you, brother. Yeah, it's up to you. What's up, Skyvet? Yeah, it's up to you, brother. Again, if you want to check out Top Step, great way to help support the channel. There's no PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, commodities. Great way to learn when most day traders lose money. So if you want to check out Top Step, they are a sponsor of mine. I am biased because I get paid by them. You want to confirm it all with them. I can't guarantee anything. But if you want to check them out, I'll put the link up. I appreciate the love. And great way to help support the channel. Here's the link right here. NASDAQ is getting close to the highs of the day. The high of the day on the NASDAQ is 25,762. So we're very close to that. Yeah, so we're very close to the high of the day here. Still got 35 minutes or so until the market opens, but we got some time. Yeah, let's see if we get some liquidity at 9 o'clock. I'll watch it. Yeah, silver just cracked all-time highs as well. It just got up to 85.70s a couple minutes ago. Gold did as well, got up to 46.30s. They're now pulling back again. But silver and gold flying this morning, making big movements up. BitGo files for a US IPO apparently, and COMEX silver futures are up 8% intraday to 85.70 an ounce. Again, treasury yields are higher this morning on the Powell probe. John, you have not placed one trade today? Yeah, I have. I'm green on the day right now. I've traded probably like 3 times today. How many times have I traded? 3 times? Oh, that's cool, Wretched. What's up, man? US, this is the last market to trade? Oh. Yeah, I'm in silver right now. I'm in PSLV for silver as well. Very green on the day, obviously, with all-time high breaks. I'm green in stocks, even though everything's really red, and that mostly from my PSLV holdings. PSLV is a silver ETF. Yeah, blink and you might miss them, for sure, 100%. I think it's going to be Hassett, personally. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's going to be Hassett. All right, guys, we got 30 minutes until the market opens. Again, Powell says he faces a criminal probe over Fed headquarter renovations. Nasdaq's now dipping down. So is silver and gold. Actually, just gold. Nasdaq is pulling back, though, after getting close to the highs. All right, so here's 9 o'clock. Here's the top of the hour. Let's see if we get some volatility from 9 a.m. this morning. All right, here's 9 o'clock right now. All right, guys, 10 minutes or 10 seconds until 9 a.m. A little bit less than that, actually. So we'll see if 9 a.m. brings some volatility here. Here's some volatility showing up in the Nasdaq here. Nasdaq with a big red candle. There's 9 a.m. Silver tapped over all-time highs again, 85.75 in silver futures. Nasdaq's turning down a little bit at the open, or 30 minutes before the open. But we are dipping down some here. We got 30 minutes until the market opens, guys. 30 minutes. Do we get a bullish or bearish open? Let me know in the chat right now. All right, guys, look at gold fall down. It's at 46.23s. Nasdaq down to 25.750s. Again, the Nasdaq previous closing price, just to put this into perspective, yesterday, Friday when it closed, it was way up here, and you can kind of see these drops from Friday here. So we pulled back a lot yesterday on Sunday at the open on Sunday, and we dipped all the way back down here. We are now all the way down to 740s. Where we were at 900s on the NASDAQ prior to this. And so the NASDAQ has dipped extensively over the weekend. So has the S&P and the Dow. So they're all down pretty big. Buy the dip. Bull or bear open, guys? Let me know. I've seen people thinking bullish, bull, bear, bear. So kind of split down the middle here. Bear, bear, bull, sideways. Yeah, let's see what happens. Again, news is a little quiet here ahead of the open. Been covering all the breaking news this morning. Again, we do have bank earnings starting tomorrow as well here, guys. Just to put it in perspective, we do have bank earnings starting tomorrow. Again, Meta is now announcing that it's appointed the former president's advisor, Powell McCormick, as president. Gold now dipping down a little bit from the highs it made earlier in the day. So is silver here. NASDAQ is as well slightly, but NASDAQ range is much quieter. Gold now dipping all the way, continuing down. Look at gold right here. So gold is falling. Here's the 200 EMA of 46.07s for gold. All right, NASDAQ up to 750s, rejecting 750s. Silver's still dipping here. Gold's still dipping as well. Is it time to buy a dip in these? Yeah, the first 5 minutes might be a little crazy today, so just be careful, guys. We are going to be day trading live at the open. And we'll see what happens, but... Again, odds for a pause in January are now 94% likely for a pause this month. Look at gold and silver pulling back here. I almost want to buy this. All right, so silver's right at the 200 exponential. Let's see if it holds there. It is in the face of a big pullback here. I don't know why the 200 EMA is different on my charts though, but there's silver starting to pop back up here. Let's see if it holds now. I think it wants to go higher. All right, we are in silver here. I'll put this up. We're up about $200 now. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it right there. We just made about $250 on the day in this account. Buying the 200 exponential on silver. I might actually add a little bit more back here. If it holds right here and rebounds. Actually, it looks like I got out just in time of this. All right, guys, we got about 23 minutes left. Silver still falling. NASDAQ dipping down a little bit as well here. Remember, we do have inflation data tomorrow. We do have CPI inflation data tomorrow. Again, what do you guys think? Inflation is expected at 2.7% year over year for both core and headline CPI inflation tomorrow. 2.7% for month over month data for both core and headline. It's expected at 0.3% month over month. Do you guys think we come in higher or lower than that reading? Yeah, look at NASDAQ rebound back up here. Check breaking news. Again, so markets are reacting to the prosecution potential of Fed Chair Powell, raising concerns about political interference in monetary policy. Treasury yields spiked. The dollar went down. It says these worries could push the Fed more towards more hawkish interest rate decisions. And I agree, it might make them less likely to cut interest rates. All right, silver's still dipping down here after spiking up this morning. Again, here's the NASDAQ in the top middle here. Silver giving back a lot of the gains it's made since for the last hour right now, though. So it started this run at about 8 o'clock market time. It's now at about 3/4 of the way back down in the entire move it's made over the last hour. So silver reversing from the highs it put in earlier. Again, we did a poll. Will gold break 5,000 this year? 81% say yes. 19% say no. Silver's starting to turn back down. Here's gold. Gold's right at the 200 exponential too at 4,600. Silver's still falling. Yeah, again, we got 20 minutes until the market opens. Yeah, let me look regarding silver here. Yeah, so the president praised Meta for hiring Dina Powell McCormick. The president congratulated her. Again, Amex stock is down 4% as the president calls for a 10% cap on credit card interest rates. That I'm actually for, you know. Like put a cap in interest rates. That's necessary, I think. They've gotten kind of wild lately. Yeah, so silver's given back a lot of the gains it's made over the last hour. Still up on the day, though. But it broke all-time highs, and now we're getting kind of a swing back down. So we basically filled the entire gap over the last hour on silver. Gold is now falling down as well here. We're heading into the opening bell now. Paramount intends to go after a superior $30 a share cash offer for Warner Bros. Discovery. I feel like Paramount's not really listening. I get they're going kind of hostile with it. I just don't think they win, personally. I think Netflix is a big, Paramount's big as well. Netflix is bigger though, All right, so again, we basically filled the entire gap, and now we're starting to bounce a little bit on silver. NASDAQ's still sitting pretty quiet here on a 1-minute chart. Pretty choppy and stagnant for the NASDAQ. Gold's breaking down a little bit, but silver kind of came all the way back down and filled this gap right here. And now we're bouncing back up to the 200 exponential, which is right here. So it might be time to buy silver. I'm not telling you to buy it. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable. If you lose money, make your own assessment, trade smart. I can't guarantee anything, guys. Don't copy me. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, let's do a poll on silver now. Is it time to buy the silver dip? Not investment advice. Vote on the poll. Is it time to buy the silver dip? What credit score would you need for credit cards to take a chance on you for only a 10% return? I mean, you're acting like 10% is peanuts here, to be honest. Like, 10% is a lot. And again, it's so political. I think people end up just, because the president said it, they just disagree. And that's not a trap you want to find yourself in, right? I think if we look at it objectively, I'm against the big credit card companies. They're certainly taking advantage of the situation and charging people too much interest. I mean, that's pretty obvious. I don't think if we're picking sides, big credit card companies, consumer, we should pick the big credit card companies. I don't think that's a good move. But hey, do what you want to do. Yeah, 21.35 is way too much. Again, silver bounced right here at this line. Filled the entire gap. Again, here's 8 o'clock market time. We came all the way back down to this level, which is right where the move started. And now we're bouncing back higher here. I did a poll. Should you buy the silver dip? 64% people say no. It's not time to buy the silver dip. I'm watching 84. If we hold over 84. I'm watching the 200 exponential and silver right here at 84.62s as well. All right, guys, we got 15 minutes until the opening bell. Let's see what it brings. I'm going to put the NASDAQ back up here. And then I'll put silver back up on this top chart. And I'll draw the same level here. Right around 84 is where I'm looking at, right around here. We'll see if we hold. Gold now under the 200 exponential. Silver is as well. Bitcoin back up to 90.5K. If you don't have the money to buy something, don't buy it. I mean, I think that's obviously true, but I think you also have to look at it more broad and understand that generally people who make less money and need money like desperately, especially considering how much inflation and how expensive things are going to take whatever route they need to take in order to have a little bit of room paycheck to paycheck, right? Even if that means using credit cards or whatever it is. Like, that's kind of a normal thing. It's not really isolated to any one group or anything like that. It's just pretty broad. That's generally what happens. And I think especially when you consider how high rent is, how expensive things are right now, you know, you might not agree with it, but I think it's understandable. Anyways, gold down to 4,600. Silver still dipping down now. It's back down to that $84 level. All right, we're down to 733s. Gold's still dipping. It's at $4,600. All right, NASDAQ did fall pretty heavily at just now again. We got any news? Scheinbaum, the Mexican president, is speaking, said they had a good conversation with the U.S. president. Paramount Skydance is also saying if Warner Bros. Calls special meeting ahead of annual meeting to vote on the Netflix deal, the company will solicit proxies again against such approval. It says Paramount will propose amendment to Warner Bros. Bylaws to require shareholders of Warner Bros. Discovery approval for any separation of global networks. We'll propose an amendment to Warner Bros. Bylaws. And again, so Paramount Skydance basically files a suit seeking disclosure of basic information to enable Warner Bros. Shareholders to make informed decisions. They also intend to nominate directors for election at Warner Bros. 26th annual meeting and solicit against approval of the Netflix transaction. D.A. Davidson also thinks Nvidia is a buy. I'm not saying it's a buy. Again, D.A. Davidson thinks Nvidia remains a buy, still ahead of rivals. D.A. Davidson analyst Gil Luria reiterated his buy rating on Nvidia. Key takeaway was Jensen Huang's CES presentation. The Veruba platform is now in full production, offering up to 10x lower token costs and training MOE models with 4x fewer GPUs. They say the strong focus on the shift to physical AI plus the new open source Alpamayo family of models to speed up autonomous driving. All right, so we had the dip in the NASDAQ. It basically just got bought up really quickly here. Gold bounced right here at 6,400 or 4,600s. Look at Bitcoin, guys. So Bitcoin dipping down. Big red candle for Bitcoin. Let's see if that holds. And you can look at Paramount Skydance here. Still at 1270s. You can look at Warner Bros. 28s. I don't understand why the markets would go down on this. Well, it's because of Fed independence worries is what they're saying it is. Like essentially Fed independence worries. What they're blaming it on. Yields are higher, NASDAQ is down. You know, that's how it's going right now. Again, tomorrow we got CPI inflation data. And it's looking less likely that the Fed's going to cut anytime soon, so... And I'm still watching gold. Gold's at 46.06 right now. Look at gold here, 46.07s. Again, markets are reacting to the prosecution of Fed Chair Powell, raising concerns about political interference in monetary policy. Again, no beehives, I send it back, is what they should be saying. You know. I'm in Oracle. Where's Oracle at? We're very green on Oracle, though. We're actually green on our stocks today, mostly from silver. We're up day trading silver. We're also up investments in silver and swing trades in silver. PSLV helping me out. NASDAQ fighting its way back higher here at 750s. We got 9 minutes until the opening bell. Look at Bitcoin underneath me still falling. So Bitcoin is still dropping. It's at 90.29s. Yeah, the open should be interesting today. I think we've got a lot of news that happened over the weekend, and now it's the first opening. I think it'll be interesting today to see what we get. 8 minutes until the open. Again, bull or bear open. Let me know in chat right now. Bull or bear open. All right, I'm saying bullish bear, bull, bear, polar bear, bull, bear. So mostly bears, I would say, is the majority, but it's kind of split in terms of what people want. We're kind of flat on the NASDAQ, but here's gold and silver make another dive down. And look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's falling down to the 90.2 level right now for Bitcoin. Yeah, I don't know if y'all can see this. Let me see if y'all can. The bear right there. Look at that handsome man above him, too. Who is that? I don't know who that is. Top 3 most handsome guy ever right there. Cheers to that guy. NASDAQ's starting to fall down. Let's see if it holds the 200 exponential. It's right there. I'm looking at 725 as well underneath us right here. I think that level's been some support. We don't have bears in Texas? Shh. All right, guys. Bitcoin down to 90.2 thousand. Gold and silver kind of stagnant after ripping up and then pulling all the way back down, filling the gap on the downside this morning. We got 5 minutes left here, chat. See what happens. Again, 95 to 5% chance of a Fed pause this month. Look at Bitcoin fall, though, man. Look at that. Under 90.2s now for Bitcoin. Still dipping down here. Wow. Hey, what's up, Mama Pawn? Good morning. Yeah, it's kind of a thing where people are worried about the Fed's independence now. And so that kind of, you know, again, Mexican President Sheinbaum did say they had a good conversation with the U.S. president. Paramount intends to go after a $30 a share cash offer for Warner Bros. Again, I don't think they're going to get it. But man, look at Bitcoin dip here. Again, Iran's FM and Witkoff discussed a potential meeting soon, according to Axios. So again, Iran's foreign minister and Witkoff might have a meeting sometime soon. JP Morgan also says they have a cautious look on U.S. stocks amid the Fed probe. They say that the Fed faces a criminal investigation which rattled markets and sent the S&P down, NASDAQ down. Analysts warn that threats to Fed independence could weigh in on markets near term. Any de-escalation might create a short-term buying opportunity, though, according to them. Again, we do have some earnings this week. Again, Tuesday, JP Morgan, Delta Airlines, and more. Wednesday, we got Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Citigroup, and more. Thursday, we got investment banking like Goldman Sachs and BlackRock, Morgan Stanley. Friday, we got PNC Financial, State Street, M&T Bank, and Regions. And then next week, we got Netflix, Kinder Morgan, Schwab, and more. The big earnings, though, start the last week of the month. We got Tesla, Apple, and more. So the week of the 26th is when most of the big Mag 7 earnings start. But we do have some bank earnings and stuff this week, so we'll see what happens. Thank you, SkyBet, for becoming a member. Hey, thank you. All right, here we go. We got 3 minutes left until the opening bell, guys. Let's see what we get today. It's an interesting day with the Fed probe. Markets reacting negatively. Silver, gold breaking highs and then dipping down some. Bitcoin pulling back a little bit near term. And so it's an interesting day for sure. We'll see what happens. Netflix drops. I'm in Netflix right now, so I hope it goes up. I hope you're wrong. Up for the day? Hey, good. All right, NASDAQ under that 725 level now. Silver and gold dipping ahead of the opening bell. And Bitcoin, again, also down ahead of the opening bell in about 2 minutes. Again, the news that Iran's foreign minister and U.S. Special Envoy Witkoff are discussing a potential meeting soon, according to Axios. Yeah, good luck, guys. Y'all be careful. See what the opening bell brings. We're very green to start the day. We're up 250 or so. That's nice. We got the opening bell in less than 2 minutes now. Yeah, we got some Fed members speaking today. Look at this pop at 735s right now in the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ creeping back higher. We got about a minute left until the opening bell. All right, guys. Less than a minute until the opening bell. Give me your last minute predictions for the open. Let's see what we get today, guys. Gold and silver are interesting to watch. The NASDAQ is interesting. Crypto and Bitcoin is interesting. Nvidia and Meta are interesting stocks to watch. Meta almost green on the day, though. Oracle bouncing higher a little bit as well. 20 seconds, guys. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. Let's see what we get today. Let's see what we get. And here's the opening bell in 10 seconds, guys. 10 seconds. And here's the opening bell. Again, if it's delayed, hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up. Here's the bell. All right, there's the open. NASDAQ is higher here at the opening bell. Look at the NASDAQ. Just broke highs of the day. Got up to 67. Still pushing higher here. Look at all this volume show up in the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ is flying higher this morning. Nvidia helping it. Pushing up. Apple helping it. Google's up. That is down a little bit. But very green open so far. Broke highs of the day for the NASDAQ. Now dipping down some here. Could be the first move is the wrong move scenario. But Oracle keeps pushing up. Gold and silver is still up since the opening bell as well here. So we are seeing some renewed volatility at the open. Google falling down a little bit now. And silver and gold are up since the bell, but not a lot. NASDAQ just broke highs again, 795s. Let's watch 800s here. I might buy 65s if we get a dip here. It's a little bit too close to me to buy it though, but here's 800s. We're now over 800s. NASDAQ still climbing higher here. Wow, look at the green showing up in the morning. Oracle and Nvidia helping this. Nvidia basically filling the whole gap on the downside. Creeping higher and higher now. Very green opening bell. Like this is mostly driven by like Nvidia here. Look at Nvidia up to 184.50s. Yeah, I don't know. MicroStrategy probably dipped on Bitcoin's dip, but the NASDAQ has not had a red candle since the opening bell, guys. Look at this squeeze higher here. 840s on the NQ. Nvidia trying to go green on the day. The previous closing price is right here. So Nvidia is technically green for a split second. It's now red again, but it's trying to go green. This light blue line is the red to green level on Nvidia, so we're still pushing higher. Here's 850s. If we get a dip to 800s, I'll probably buy it now. Probably. Let me put the actual chart up here. I need a dip to like 800s, to be honest, though. I don't like 825s. It's too close to where we're at now. Nvidia rejecting right at the previous close. The news is the opening bell. I don't see any big market breaking news. This is just the opening bell volatility. Curious if all of this is a buying opportunity. Maybe banks are interpreting the Powell news as kind of nothing that is going to eventually de-escalate, and that could cause a buying opportunity. That's something that JP Morgan said, is that maybe potential de-escalation in Powell, like basically he's probably not going to get charged, might make markets get bought back up. And maybe that's what we're seeing now. It's just people getting baked into that potential outcome. I'm not saying that's what's for sure happening. I'm just saying maybe that's what we're seeing right now is people just getting baked into that potential outcome. Oracle now green on the day. See, we still haven't had a red candle in the NASDAQ here 4 minutes into the day. Oracle still pushing higher here at 199s now. Google filling some of the gap as well, back up to 328s. Nvidia might push up too. I'm seeing stocks kind of start to go up more, but I mean, I'm both. I do a little bit of everything. I day trade, I swing trade, I invest. I don't even claim to be a good trader, though. Don't copy me. Not an investment professional. Not liable. If you lose nothing, here's financial advice. Again, silver pushing higher to 85s again. Silver all-time highs are 85.75. So silver getting close. NASDAQ just broke the high of the day again. Google just broke highs of the day again. Got up to 329.50s here for Google. Heavily weighted stock. It's helping drive the market higher. Nvidia is now technically green on the day as well here. What a move. I'm going to short this real quick right here. Small. I'm going to add a little bit to it, and then that's it. We retrace back down. We're up so much. I think maybe it's time. Here we go. We're green. Almost green. Don't catch a falling knife, though, guys. Don't do it. Don't copy me. All right, I'm going to take half off. Just lock in profit there. The volatility's so high this morning. We do make a jump. We're still pretty safe. Yeah, there's the jump. Add to this. See if we can catch a top here. All right, so we just popped up. We're up 250 on the day, so we got the room to swing and take a risk here. It's definitely not risk-free. I'm just looking to see when they're going to start reversing. Nvidia, guys, just shot up to 186s here. All right, I'm going to take half of that back off. There we go. There we go. Take another half off right there. Nvidia, though, man, just shooting higher. I just want to see how big of a pullback we can get right here. At least out of 850s, maybe. Maybe I'll add to it, too. There we go. All right, we're going to add to that now. Take half off there. There we go. There's 850s. I'm going to cut it right there. Up about 300 on the day, which is good. Do not copy me. Not an investment professional. Top 3 least knowing traders in the world right now. Don't copy me. We did bounce right at 850 though. Look at that level right there. Again, we're about 8 minutes into the day. About 8 minutes. See what Bitcoin does. Yeah, 850 popped it. That's why I don't want to trade against the trend for too long. I just think a pullback was necessary. You got a little 1 minute pullback too, so silver gold still edging higher here. Again, watch Nvidia. Again, Google dipping down a little bit, but still pretty strong. Again, look at Nvidia. Gold, 46.11s right now for gold. Greenland government says there are increased efforts to ensure that the defense of Greenland takes place under the auspices of NATO. Yeah, NASDAQ just broke highs again. Let's watch 900s up here. Bitcoin all the way back up to almost 91s at 90.7s now for Bitcoin. Nvidia up to 186s. $881s, $882s. Again, gold up to 46.19s. Silver up to 85.30s. Silver is very close to highs of the day and all-time highs at that. 85.75 is all-time high for silver futures. We're at 85.40 right now. So we are about 35 cents away from all-time highs in silver futures. I need Applied Digital to tank. Up 4.8% today. Nice. Yeah, looking at the poll here, we asked people, is it time to buy the silver dip? 58% said no. And with all due respect, y'all were wrong, guys. Wrong on silver. It was time to buy the dip, apparently. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not an investment professional, guy. But silver's up from when I did that poll. Remember, tomorrow we got CPI inflation. CPI inflation tomorrow. All right, look at this dip at 860s here, 860s. I mean, we're up 300 on the day. I don't want to give too much back here. But we'll take a trade if we get one. Look at 850s, hold that support. It's too slim of a pullback, though. I need a larger one. You guys green today? Let me know how much you're green or red today. Let me know in chat. We for being correct on gold. Hey, good job. Up 610 minutes, 500, green but small, mixed. Green's good. Green's good. Yeah, green is good. It's pretty good, at least. We're kind of stagnating here. I don't know what to do. Yeah, we're kind of stagnating here. Bitcoin back up to 90.8. Silver still climbing, but I gotta wait. It's too, like, the pullback's too small from here, to be honest. So we'll see what we get, but the pullback's just a little bit too small. Little green. Testing all-time highs again. I'm watching 25.9s on the NASDAQ here. 25.9s. So we will see what we get. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Let's see when the last CPI inflation. We do have CPI inflation tomorrow. What was the last CPI date? It was released December 18th. Okay. All right, still pulling back to 850s. All right, so yeah, at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, we have CPI inflation. Look at the Nasdaq though; it's pretty quiet now. Gold is dipping down a little bit. It's at 46.13s. Yeah, expectations are 2.7% for CPI tomorrow, 0.3% on the month. Still pulling back. I might buy 825s. I don't know for sure though. I'm worried about a longer reversal. Here's 825s right now. I might buy it. I don't know yet. Almost at 825s. I gotta wait for it if I'm gonna buy it though. Run, don't be there. Exit liquidity. It's gonna be small if I do take it. I'm already so green on the day. I got some room. We didn't quite hit it though. I need to wait. I need to wait. Oracle's still pretty green. Nvidia's almost green. It's basically flat. Google's starting to rebound back up. I just might not get the 825 dip that I wanted. Big rip, but given the massive drop in pre-market. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of flat on the day. We basically filled the gap at the open. And now we're kind of quiet. Also, give me a follow on x.com at beginner trades. I'll put the link up right here. Great way to help support the channel. No PDT rule in futures. You know, I day trade live every day. So if you want to watch us cover economic data as well on x.com, you can follow us here. Great way to help support the channel. Again, gold's right at 46.07. Silver too. It's kind of quiet now. We had this big rip up and now we're kind of slow. Again, tomorrow we're covering CPI inflation data, so just be ready for that. I'm still kind of looking for 825s, but I have to wait for it. No, I would buy it at 825s, small, short term, and start small and then maybe add to it if it goes in my favor. If it doesn't, I'll just cut it for a small loss. Yeah, appreciate the follows on x.com. Appreciate it. At Beginner Trades, BGINNERTRADES. Yeah, look how quiet the market is, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting. Maybe we're gonna bounce early. I wanted 25, it went down to 35, and now it's starting to rebound. Stay healthy? Yeah, I guess that's right. All right, so here we go. We're getting some better volatility here. We're starting to wake up some. But we're getting close to the highs of the day. I'm curious to see if the NASDAQ wants 26,000 today too. I'm really curious to see if the NASDAQ wants 26K. We'll see. Yeah, there's the NASDAQ just pop up over 25.9s here. So the NASDAQ just ripped up. Tesla is flying up. It's at 447.50s right now, 447.50s. Nvidia is also bouncing higher. It's now technically green on the day. So we did just break the highs of the day here at 25.900s. 26,000 is not that far. Like 26,000 is, where's my cool little pin tool here? Somewhere around here. There it is. 26,000. Whoa. You're not going to work on me today up here? Okay, that's fine. What if we drag you higher here? You're not going to work? All right. This is 26,000 right here. 26K is right here. We're really not that far away from it. And sometimes these big milestone levels can become like a magnet, so to speak. So, I mean, we're already pretty green. I don't want to take too much risk here today, to be honest. Big jump. Yeah, we went up to this 915 level or so. What is this? Or 925. Market's interesting. Bitcoin back up to almost 91,000. Here's Bitcoin at almost 91. 91,000 on Bitcoin is right here. So, again, NASDAQ went up to 925 and rejected. Nvidia green. Look at Oracle. Google, AMD doing really well. Netflix is doing good. Meta's kind of red still. Microsoft's green. Somebody came out bearish. Market makers figure they can make more by squeezing those bears out. Yeah, no, that makes sense, I think. Yeah, I'll probably cut out of here, guys. Y'all be safe today. We'll see what happens in markets today. Y'all be safe. We'll see if we break that 26,000 level in the NASDAQ. Nvidia, but you know, trying to hold green. The S&P 500 just tapped 7,000 as well, guys. So the S&P just broke 7,000, at least in the S&P futures. It's now at 6997s. So we'll see if it holds over 7,000 for the S&P this day. Again, check out Top Step if you want to help support the channel. No PDT in futures. Great way to learn. Most day traders lose. You can see it pinned at the top of the chat. They are a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. Remember, I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. You know, make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. And I'll see you guys a little bit later. Y'all be good. Have a great day.